Welcome, this is Brofessor here. I want to talk today about covenants and why I'm Venthyr instead of playing the currently more meta nightfae pick. So let's dive right in. First, I want to talk about what content I like to do. I'm a casual player who may be a little bit more on the hardcore side. I have an IO score of 783 and current PvP rankings of 1812 has a high and current threes rating of 1537 with a high of 1684. Okay. And I play Venthyr. Now, this is something that I enjoy. I love Venthyr. I think why I love it so much is the utility. Now, is the CDR reduction from nightfae probably better for most PvE content? Yes, I would have to agree. I think it is. And can Radiant Spark deal more damage than Mirrors of Torment? Yes, it can. But I like Venthyr because it has a lot of utility across the board for multi-speccers. And of course, if you like multiple forms of content like me, I'm doing raids every week, I'm doing some Mythic Plus every week, and I'm doing PvP every week. I love playing all forms of content, and I think it's really fun. And that's kind of what makes the game diverse and entertaining. So, why Venthyr? So let's start off. We'll look at Nausea. Now, I play Fire in PvP for the most part right now. It is insanely bursty, and with the proper setup and patience, it's really just hard to counter Fire mages. Now, uh, Nausea offering an amazing haste buff, the Disorient, this right now, it's just so good. I mean, yeah, you're playing fire. You already have a disorient. It's going to DR with your Door of Shadows, but most often you're using Door of Shadows to get away anyways. So since I'm using it as mobility, most often I'm not trying to use it as an interrupt on someone that I'm going to toss into a different CC. Most often I'm going to Door of Shadows away. Say I'm going to Door of Shadows into the healer. I Door of Shadows to the healer, and I can get an instant poly that's much harder to prevent from occurring because now my target's disoriented. I'm going to have time to get that polymorph off. This is just so amazing. You can DB the melee, say it's a double melee pain train healer comp. So common, destroying the ladder right now. Windwalker Death Knight, Rat Paladin Warrior. These are the comps you're going to see a bunch of. Is the double melee cleave comps. And as a mage, we're in a not good place right now. Overall, it feels like when it comes to the melee, but that's always how early seasons are in expansions. So this Door of Shadows is amazing. I can Dragon's Breath the double melee. I can dip out with my Door of Shadows, get it on the healer straight into a poly. Then I can have an amazing setup with my Combust because now I'm far away from the melee. The healer's in a CC, and Combust is going to mean that I'm going to have uninterruptible damage. So that's a great way to force a kill setup. I mostly play with a Feral Druid in my PvP, twos and threes. And the Feral Druid complements this very well with options to Cyclone another DPS target, root the DPS targets, things like that that don't share a lot of DR with your mage options. Cyclone does share with Door Shadows and Dragon's Breath, but most of the time I'm using that when I'm going in for a poly, so he doesn't need to worry about DRs too much because of that. So Nausea, amazing utility in PvE or PvP. My bad. Great, unbeatable, really fun. Theatar just feels so great in PvE content. I know this may be a little bit against the meta because I do see a lot of PvP players that are running Venthyr. They are actually using Nausea for the haste buff as well, but I play Arcane predominantly in PvE, and I really, really love Theatar's Soothing Shade. This is it's just amazing. This random mastery buff, it procs fairly often, and the area of effect that it's in is fairly large as well. And when it procs, you get this large mastery bonus for 12 seconds. That mastery bonus means you're going to be not only dealing more damage with your mastery as Arcane, but you're also going to be regenning that mana. And the mana regen aspect of it is huge alone. If I'm sitting at 4 charges in any portion of PvE content, whether I'm doing Mythic Plus and we're doing AoE packs, or whether I'm in array content and I'm doing my single target rotation, the longer I'm able to sit at 4 charges in single target combat, the better. And the more mana I'm keeping going through my Mythic Plus doing those AoE packs, the better I'm going to be able to keep that high damage output going. I'm going to be able to keep spamming Arcane Explosion, or I'm going to be able to just use more arcane blasts at max charge, better damage, right? In addition to that, Theotar does have some good utility with his secondary ability here. With your Door of the Shadows, you can remove roots and snares. There's not a lot of them in Mythic Plus content right now, but when they do occur, it can devastate a group. And Theotar allows you to get off of that. Now, once we do get further along in the expansion, we'll eventually unlock General Draven, and I'm kind of looking forward to this. I think one of the weaknesses with Mage, specifically in PvP content right now, is melee. We are just getting flopped by melee trains. It's a pain train. They are dealing so much high consistent pressure. Mage doesn't really deal high consistent pressure. We're more about massive burst pressure, kill setup on great CC chains. And since that's our playstyle, we don't have a lot of survival. We already have the damage. Mages don't need more damage when it comes to that single target burst. We need to live longer. And General Draven's going to offer that with his primary ability here. When you go below 40% health, you all of a sudden have 100%, 10% wall. That's great. All the time you have that wall. And say you do fall and die, you can actually accidentally get a kill set up with Service of Stone's explosive AoE damage for the totality of your health pool. That's kind of a half-court shot. It's a late-game miracle. It probably isn't going to be that effective, and it's more of a meme than anything. But that 10% damage reduction is huge, because mages, we have one damage reduction wall, and that's mirror images, and it is not that good of a wall overall. If you get hit 3 direct damaging abilities, your mirror images are gone, and you're just going to be back to taking a bunch of damage. It has great utility. It can have amazing uses, especially if you're able to completely wall like a rogue's major opener, right? Where if you have your mirrors out and he sinks an echoing reprimand into one of your mirrors. Oh, mwah! That's beautiful. You love it when that happens. It feels really good. But on a 2-minute cooldown, and it's very, very short time-wise is how long the mirrors are going to stay up in most situations, General Draven's flat damage reduction is going to feel really good. In addition to that, at the bottom here, if we all can remember back to BFA when we were playing Mage, when we ran fire, there was a lot of flame cannon occurring where we are standing still, getting our stamina buffed. This is another version of flame cannon here. In fact, it's a little better. You're standing still, you're getting that stamina bonus, and it persists after you move for 6 seconds. All you have to do is stand still for 4 seconds. You get that 10% stam, and you get a small healing bonus, which obviously isn't going to affect us too much. Maybe temp shield, question mark. But it lasts for 6 seconds. Stop for 4 seconds. Some of us run GPI, especially in 2s. GPI is amazing. You get the stamina bonus. It's going to persist after you try and run to catch someone or are getting to kite for some time. And then you can stand for another 4 seconds. You get that stand buff right back. This could be life-saving. So I think General Draven's going to offer Venthyr an amazing defensive utility option for PvP. Especially, I hate Truan Ward. I truly do. I hate Truan Ward. It's boring. I want to run cool stuff. Guys. And cool stuff is damaging stuff, right? So I do run the more offensive legendary for PvP. I run Incanter Circlet. That is going to be the increased damage on crits in a row. So your combust is just going to truck people. It hits so hard. And especially when you can combine this with Nausea here, if you're running currently like the full all-in damage build for 2s, obviously it's going to change if you run Draven in 3s, but you run that combustion potency where every time you Fire Blast, you're getting that increased stack. Oh, look at that. Mirrors of Torment combos perfect with this. You put your mirrors on a target, you get that third extra, or that a fourth extra Fire Blast charge. You get Fire Blast, Pyroblast into another Fire Blast, Pyroblast. It's just that alone without having to be on the GCD as much and use Phoenix Flames, which is on that GCD. You can apply so much more pressure, so much more rapidly. Combo that with the legendary that's going to deal a bunch more consecutive crit damage. And then, obviously, keeping up that Infernal Cascade is really important because it lasts very short, 5 seconds. So you do need to keep those Fire Blasts going. Mirrors of Torment, is your best option. If you're a nightfae, you're not doing that. You're not going to stop in PvP and try and use your class ability to get that going. You're not. First off, it's an AoE. It's going to break CC. Mirrors of Torment's not. So huge benefit there. Now, that's kind of why I like Fire PvE or PvP content, and I like Nausea. And then eventually, I think General Draven's going to be a great defensive option for 3v3, depending on how the meta shifts with melee. And Theatar obviously has a lot of utility, given that that mastery bonus is huge for Frost, with mastery being its best secondary stat. Huge for Arcane. I think mastery is still underrated for Arcane, and the utility you get from this high proc rate is really great. I don't think this is good for Fire as much, predominantly just because haste is more important for Fire, and haste is insanely important for Fire. I can't underestimate that. More GCDs, more damage. I probably wouldn't be using Theatar for Fire ever, just because Nausea is so powerful with that haste bonus, especially when you get a well-timed haste bonus here. It's just amazing. And that's kind of my summary on why I like Venthyr for Mage right now. Utility, amazing. You can use it in PvP, you can use it in Mythic Plus, you can use it in raid content. It has a lot of diversity. And although I know there's a lot of people out there running nightfae because it seems so meta, I don't think the meta is that locked in right now. If anything, you're looking at 3 to 5% variance from each covenant. Let's be real, I'm the brofessor, not the professor. So I'm not doing world first content right now. I know most of us aren't, and if you're a casual player or even semi-hardcore player, I'm still parsing purples in all my raids, and I'm still destroying the damage meters in Mythic Plus, topping them pretty much every single time over Hunters and DKs. And I'm running Venthyr. I'm Venthyr, and I do think Venthyr offers amazing utility in PvP. And the world's top mage right now is actually Venthyr, even though almost all of them aren't Venthyr. The number one mage in the world is Venthyr. So just things to consider if you're interested in either changing your covenant or looking more into what other covenants offer. Consider Venthyr. It is amazing and has great utility. Thank you for your time. Everyone, please like and subscribe to me if you can. Just I'm begging you. New to making videos, and I hope you guys like the content. If you don't, tell me why. What can I do better? Production quality, probably not the best right now, but we can improve. Y'all have a great day.